Edward Leos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the Hotel Guide publisher, Edward
Good morning,
Leos.
everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Really excited about having a good friend of mine and a returning show member, if you will, for the podcast, Tim Morrow, CEO of the San Antonio Zoo. How you doing, Tim?
Good. I'm glad I made it back. It means I didn't do anything too bad last time. So
This is correct. No, you did not do anything too bad. No, I love you and what you're doing over there at the zoo. Our history goes back in the hospitality industry here for many years, serving not only at the state level, local level, but state level. And man, ever since you set foot there at the zoo, you've really just taken that attraction to a whole nother level. So we thought it would be great as we're coming towards the end of this year and going into 2026. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening at the zoo. So I know offline we're talking about all the things going on. So update us on what's been happening and maybe some cool things that maybe some of our readers or listeners could partake in when they're in here in San Antonio.
Yeah, so lots of changes at the zoo. I know some of my favorite people when I go around town or where I'm traveling that they say, "Oh, I haven't been in the zoo in a few years. I should go back." I'm like, "You're my favorite people," because I want to hear what you think about what we've done the last decade. But really, the last couple of years has been an accelerated big capital campaign for us. So it's called Generation Zoo. We've been fundraising and building. And so if you go back a little bit, part of this campaign of Generation Zoo was a brand new entrance for the zoo. And it's themed to San Antonio. It's very fun when you arrive. There's great music. Guests are dancing when they arrive at our entrance now, which is really nice.
That is nice.
And we followed that up. That opened in December of 23. October of 24, we opened a new expanded Naylor Savannah. That's our savannah that has giraffes and rhinos and zebras and all those things. Added some giraffes, built a real state-of-the-art giraffe barn that guests could actually go and look inside the barn and see kind of the inside workings. And then we added an overnight lodge called Spec Boom Lodge. So guests can have the opportunity now to book that room and spend the night at the zoo. And it comes with every animal amenity you can imagine. I mean, we have room service till 11 p.m. and all kinds of great aspects to that. And people are really enjoying that stay. And then last month, we opened the Ralston Event Center. So it's a new event center for us that will host galas and weddings and quinceañeras and all the life events that people have. And we hope that'll be a nice revenue generator for the zoo. Really beautiful facility. It sits on top of the quarry wall. So our zoo's built in a historic quarry. This is really the first time we've built a guest area outside of the quarry wall. So really exciting, and the views are unreal. You see the entire zoo. We can see the botanical gardens, downtown skylines. Just really incredible views. And then in a couple weeks, we will open Gorilla coming up in the next month or so. So we're really excited. We have not had Gorilla at San Antonio Zoo since 1990.
Wow.
And so, generations of kids have never seen a gorilla in San Antonio and South Texas. So we're really excited to bring that educational opportunity back. And then we pile on our events. We just wrapped up Zoo Boo. We're starting Zoo Lights in a couple of weeks. We have our Zoo Gala, our biggest gala of the year, next Friday. And then we're doing a New Year's Eve party at the Ralston on New Year's Eve. So there's no rest right now. Everyone is running 100 miles an hour here.
No, I can imagine. I mean, literally, when you go to the website, which is extremely informative, I love the layout, love the look of it. And we'll talk a little bit about how, our listeners can find you guys there later. But a couple of things that stood out to me was obviously being able to stay at the zoo. How cool of an experience is that with that lodge that you built to be able to be there and see giraffes outside your window?
Yeah, first I'd say Spec Boom Lodge is really nice. I can't overstate that enough. That it's high end. You feel like you're in an African lodge in Africa. So it's got a great outdoor balcony. It'll sleep 4 people. So it has a main suite for the adults probably, and then there's kind of a living area with a kitchenette and a trundle that will turn into 2 individuals or a queen bed. And that bed actually sits out off the side of the building. So the kids in that bed have a 180-degree view of the savannah. Wow. And when we opened it, we tested it for employees first and had employees stay in there. And a lot of these employees have worked here 10, 20 years and see those animals every single day. But every one of them was like, I stayed up all night watching the giraffes walk around or sit down and do these things because it's just something they don't get to see. So really great experience. You can book that on our site or multiple hotel sites, and really tailored to a high-end guest experience. We pick, you park inside the zoo. We take you on a golf cart with your bags right to the room. You have concierge service. If you want to leave the zoo, go downtown for a little bit, we take you on the golf cart back to your car, get you in and out. Room, like I mentioned, room service is available. And then right now it's in on season, peak season, it's a 2-night minimum. And so the day in between, the guests get all the amenities and get to do all the animal experiences and carousel and train. That's all included. So just an incredibly unique experience that, of course, zoos all over the country are calling us now, like, how much was that and how's it doing? And it's doing really well. So, I mean, it's staying on par with other hotel occupancy rates in the city. But it's our one room and very exclusive, and we're really proud about what's happening there.
It seems like you cut out your voice.
You can't hear me?
All right, there we go. We had a little technical difficulty there. It's all good. The power of live TV here.
Friday.
So, yep, it is what it is.
Tired.
Already, yep. But yeah, I've been on a podcast and I filmed it and the lights went out on my end, so I was completely a black screen on this side. So we do what we can. Life is going to come at you in different ways. So you're talking about the lodge, how awesome it is, the luxury side of things, and really catering to the guest. And when I saw that, I just thought, man, that is so cool. How does that? Obviously, I've never been on an African safari yet. But when you're talking about the lodge experiences, how does that kind of compare to some of the ones you've been in?
Yeah, the experience is really unique and really exciting for our guests. I mean, one of the things we hear on the feedback they like the most is they feel like they have the entire zoo to themselves. Wow. And so one of the things they get to do is they get to stay in the zoo 2 hours after we close and walk the zoo and see the animals with no one else around. So that's really exciting. And then when you get to the lodge and you're sitting on the patio or you're looking out the windows and just giraffes walking by and zebras and ostrich and sitatunga and all these animals, it's very much like an African experience where you would kind of just be looking out over maybe a watering hole or something and seeing all the animals come back and forth. And so a lot of people don't sleep. They just stay awake watching the animals. We get a lot of great feedback, like I said, on the private hours. So you can stay in the zoo 2 hours after we close and come out 1 hour early. You have the ability to leave the zoo and go off grounds if you want to downtown and things like that. But the team says hardly anybody does it. Nobody leaves. It's just such a unique experience. I think they want to take advantage of every moment they have at that lodge. And so we've got great feedback. We've had people coming from all over the country and around the world to stay at that lodge. So people have come from UK to stay at that lodge, from California, and they have their hometown zoos, but they come and they leave saying, this is now my favorite zoo. So that's nice. And I think this is going to get replicated by other zoos. There's zoos that have overnight. We have overnight sleepovers for school groups and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts or families that want to do it. We have that opportunity, but this lodge is just on a really high end level. So it appeals to a different demographic, perhaps, and it's doing really well.
That's awesome. That's something that I think it's important for our guests and listeners to know about. It is a great opportunity. Definitely check them out on the website. Let's circle back to the gorillas side of things. I'm from San Antonio, so, I saw gorillas when I was a kid here. But to go, like you said, a generation without it is pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about some of the fanfare coming up to that. What can guests expect and some of the big things you have on tap?
Yeah, we think what we've created with Congo Falls is the most unique gorilla habitat ever built. And so we really focused on, our zoo moved our last gorilla out to the National Zoo in DC back in 1990. And that's kind of the point in time when zoos realized, they really need family structures. They need big spaces. They need to be in groups. Our zoo did not have the space to do that and had the forethought and the care of that gorilla in mind enough to move him. And so it's taken us 35 years to get back to this point. And it kind of highlights the way zoos have changed over the decades and modernized and become more centers of conservation and education. And people and zoos are judged by their habitats now. How natural are the habitats, how enriching. So when we came into this, we said, we've got to do gorillas right. We've got to do it the best. And so the team that helped design this was professional zoo designers, our conservation biologist, our animal well-being staff, our animal care staff, our guest experience staff, everybody. It was all hands on deck. Give us your opinions. We brought in consultants from other zoos that work gorillas and have habitats. We visited probably 20 zoos and gorilla habitats. So we definitely want to be the best and we want to be innovative. This zoo is very well known for back in the early 1900s, around the 30s, having the first cageless exhibits. And so we went from cages to the moat open air systems that people
Mhm.
still can see at San Antonio Zoo. And so it was us in St. Louis were kind of the first zoos doing that. And
Wow.
so we talk about all the time, 100 years later, we want to be innovators again. And so this exhibit is 2 acres for gorillas. It has overhead walkway trails for the gorillas to go overhead. It has a 75-foot tower for them to go up and down, basically a 75-foot play structure for gorillas.
Wow.
It actually connects into the Ralston Event Center. So the gorillas, if they want to see your event, can come up and be at your event. It has overhead trail systems for humans. It has really 360-degree viewing of gorillas. Sometimes you're overhead of gorillas. Sometimes you're open air viewing them in their habitat. Sometimes you're looking through windows. We have one building with underground viewing, and there's actually on the ceiling a window where a gorilla can sit up or lay down and look at you down through the ceiling. So you're literally looking at gorillas, and they're looking at you 360 degrees. And so we've talked a lot about, the habitat was built for gorillas first and foremost in mind, and also the views they have and the experience they have. And so we've got these towers we've got 4 play structures in the 2 outdoor yards. We have 2 outdoor habitats and an indoor rainforest. The outdoor habitats have these climbing structures. The gorillas can actually climb up higher than the surrounding walls and windows and look out and see downtown and see giraffes and see other animals, which some of them at their zoos they were at maybe have never seen these animals before. So a really fun experience for the gorillas. We're really excited about their experience here. And we really tried with this habitat to blur the lines of, you can't really tell who's watching who's in, who's out. It just feels like this space that you're sharing with gorillas and the gorillas are sharing with you. And I think for San Antonio, I think it's going to be a game changer for our city. For our zoo, I know it's going to be a game changer. And it's been 10 years in the making, but we are 35 years in the making, really. But we're just getting started. But we're really excited to open this one to show the world what we can really do when we get support from funders and the city and county and places like that, and what we could create for San Antonio.
No, it's amazing, and I love what you're doing. The journey, honoring where it started to where you are now. I love the key word about it being innovative. And sometimes you don't hear that enough with organizations. People like to stay stagnant in what they're doing, and to say that you want to be innovative in one of the top zoos in the nation and in the world is always a cool thing to do. So I appreciate you for all your leadership that you're doing, Tim.
Yeah, well, if I have one superpower, I just was talking to a group yesterday. It's hiring people that are smarter than me, which is not hard, but hiring the right people, which is hard. So we have an incredible team here of people from really diverse backgrounds. Of the senior leadership team here, the 10 or 12 of us, only one really grew up working in zoos, and it's our animal care vice president. Our conservation biologist, our VP of conservation, came from academia. Our marketing people came from theme parks and auto industry. Our fundraisers came from universities and other nonprofits. And so we have a really an amazing group of thinkers that don't think maybe traditional zoo operations or zoo design or zoo marketing and promotion. And so we're out there a little bit, but a lot of zoos are looking at us as like that maybe could be the model that we all need to be looking at, because we know the zoo first and foremost, people come here to have fun. So that is at the core of everything we do, and you can feel it with our social media and our advertisements and the funding, the fun viral things that we do. It's about fun. So, and if somebody comes here and is having fun, they're going to stay longer. It gives us more opportunity to educate them. So that's a win for us as well.
It's a win for you too. And then you're talking about the after effect. I was just doing a podcast prior to this one. We're talking about experiential travel going next level. And it's about being engaged where you are, but taking that engagement to where you go.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do that and talk about the San Antonio Zoo, whether you're in St. Louis, New York, or Paris, France, that's a win for what you're doing there. So we've got a minute or so left, but what is the best way for people to find the zoo or find any information or find you guys?
I think, sazoo.org is our website. And then I really encourage people to follow our social media. It's really fun. It's really engaging. It's really educational, but fun. They can be the same. They can be all in one.
Yeah,
and so, we have a reach some year of like 4 or 5 billion people on social. We do a lot of things that go viral just because we're having fun, and we're not taking ourselves too seriously. But we've been named a top 10 zoo in the country the last 4 years by different organizations. We've been named tops in Texas 5 times in the last 7 years. So the accolades of all the hard work that the team here has been doing the last decade is really starting to show. which we're really excited about. So we know when Gorillas opens, it's going to be a big deal in San Antonio, a big deal for us, and we hope everyone comes and visits us, no matter where you're from. I mean, San Antonio in general has more attractions than I can name with my fingers and toes and count. And so and beautiful, authentic people, the Riverwalk, the food, the experiences. It's just a wonderful city to visit. And what we want is now when people, you know, when someone goes to San Diego, the first question is, did you go to the zoo while you were there? Is what you ask people. We want that back for San Antonio. With San Antonio, I don't want to hear, did you go to the Alamo Riverwalk? I want them to say, did you go to the zoo while you were there? Because I heard about Congo Falls, or I heard about the things they're doing.
Sure. No, that's great. And I appreciate you being on the show again, Tim, and fit us into your schedule. I love learning more about what's going on. Our guests need to hear that. And again, just thanks for being on the show.
I appreciate you and your time and all that you're doing for hospitality.
Oh, perfect. Well, to all of our listeners out there, you know the drill. Follow us at thehotelguide.com. Subscribe, like. We'll have Tim and the zoo's contact information in the show notes. That way you can easily find them. A lot of great things happening before the end of the year and going into 2026. So social media, you know where to follow them too. They got some good stuff. So until next time, like we always say, travel, make memories, and we'll talk soon. Take care.